Hey, welcome to my channel. Welcome to this week's video. My name is Jessie, and in this video I am going to be reading books that I'm predicting will be 5 stars. Hopefully they'll be 5 stars. Hopefully I'll just fall in love with them, and I am expecting the best out of these books. Sometimes I just see a book and I have a really good feeling about it and I'm expecting it to be 5 stars. Other books I hear great things from other people. They're raving about it and I expect that book to be a 5 stars if I read it. Getting my hopes up. Hopefully they won't be let down. I'm going to be reading 3 books. I will introduce you to them in a second, and then you'll just follow me along my journey of seeing how I think about them, how I feel about them. My first book that I'm predicting to be 5 stars is Powerless by Lauren Roberts. I've had this on my TBR for a while now. I've already read one chapter of this. This one is a fantasy romance. I think all 3 of these books are actually fantasy romances, which is perfect for me. This one I don't know too much about. I kind of want to go into this one as blind as I possibly can, so I won't be reading what this one's about. Along the way, I'll give details, but obviously not too much because it'll be spoiler free. Second, I'll be reading Spin the Dawn by Elizabeth Lim. This one is a 5-star prediction for me because I read 2 books by this author already. It was a duology, Six Crimson Cranes and The Dragon's Promise. I gave both of those books 5 stars, thought they were absolutely fantastic. I fell in love with them. I thought they were just very adventurous, very fast paced. I did not want to stop reading them. Of course, I had to pick up another duology by this author. This was actually written before the other 2 books, so we are getting a little bit of an earlier work from this author. People were saying that they like this duology better than the Six Crimson Cranes duology, so very excited for this one. I hope I love it as much as I love the other duology because I need that feeling every time I read a book. We're getting a little bit of a Mulan-esque type vibe in this book. Our main character is actually disguising as a man because men are the only one who can make these dresses. I think there's some sort of dress like competition. Yeah, so there's a competition to become the imperial tailor. 12 men are taken to the palace to sew these dresses together and try to have the best one. Her father gets summoned to this court to be the dressmaker, but he is not capable of going over there. I'm guessing he's sick, so she actually disguises as a man and goes over there and does the competition herself. So that's kind of where the Mulan vibes are coming from. Hoping for the best. And then lastly, this one is the main one in this video that I absolutely want to fall in love with. This is When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker. I've been seeing this go around for a while, I think since January. This is one of those books where I see the cover and I just know that I'm probably gonna fall in love with it. I also don't know too much about this one because I want to go into this one blind. I'm sorry that I can't be giving you too much information on what these books are about. This one does have dragons in it, and I've heard that they are used in a very unique type of way, so I'm curious to see how that goes. There is a romance in this too, and I already love this book. As soon as I got it, of course I had to look at the first few pages. There's a glossary, okay? And it gives you descriptions of all like the creatures in here, all the words, character lists. The one thing that I beg for in books all the time, especially fantasy books, there's a pronunciation guide. As soon as I saw this, I already wanted to give this book a 5 stars because this is what I want in every book. Look-wise, this book already has a 5 stars for me. We'll see how this goes. I'm gonna be reading them in the order that I just showed them to you. We're just gonna get into the reading portion of this video, and I hope you enjoy it. Let's hopefully find a 5-star read. What if all of these are 5 stars? I hope they are, but then it's also like, can I really read 3 back-to-back 5 stars? That seems impossible. Oh, my back hurts. Why did I film the longest intro in the entire world? Sorry. It's been a few days. I started this Friday. It is now Monday. I had a very busy weekend, so I didn't get to read too much. I'm on page 170. If you would like to know a little bit about what this book is about, I will explain that right now, obviously without any spoilers. But we have our main character, Peyton. She's spending her time as a thief, technically, so she's going through this alley when people set up to sell food and everything, and she's stealing money from people and doing it very secretively because she's very good at it, because she does not want to get caught. If you get caught by one of the guards from the kingdom, it's not good. Bad things are gonna happen to you. So she's living there. Her and her friend Adina are together. She doesn't have anybody else, so she's just spending her time trying to survive. And then our other main character, Kai, he is the Sun's king. The king's son. I can't. He's the king's son, and he is known as the enforcer. That is his title. In this world, you have elites and then you have ordinaries, kind of. So the elites have some kind of power, and it's very interesting because everybody's power is kind of unique. There are groups of people who have the same power as others. There's quite a bit of different powers that you can have. And then there are ordinaries who the kingdom is trying to get rid of. They don't want ordinaries in there, so these people don't have any type of magic or power at all. Kai, as an enforcer, anytime there is a a hint of an ordinary in this world. He has to go and take care of that situation. And then there's this thing called the trial. So there's different sections of this world where one person from each thing goes to these trials and they kind of compete against each other. We haven't really gotten too many descriptions on exactly what it is or like background history with this world yet. That's the only part that's kind of confusing me, but I'm still enjoying it, and that's where a lot of people say the Hunger Games aspect is coming from it, because these people are competing just like in the Hunger Games. Obviously it's not exactly the same, it is very different and it's unique to this world, but I can already tell the similarities between the two. That's basically the concept of this. I don't want to give away too much because I think it's fun to find out as you go along. So far, I'm really enjoying this. I really like the characters. Adina and Peyton are very good friends. I really like their relationship with each other and how they talk to each other, just their connection. And then all the other characters that we have been introduced to so far, I've really liked. I think there's a lot of diversity with character personalities. They're described very well, and everything in the world is also described very well. So with that being said, I do really like the writing in this book. I see people all the time say that as soon as they start reading a book, they're just immersed into the world that they're reading about, and I have a hard time doing that because my brain just doesn't work that way unless I really focus. Books like this really make me appreciate the author's writing because it helps me picture the scenes in my head, and I've been doing that so far, and it's making me like it more because I can see what I'm reading. So I really like this. I like the banter between Peyton and Kai already. They're very flirty with each other, but it's not like, it's the flirting that I like. So they're kind of hating each other a little bit, but it's not, I wouldn't describe this as enemies to lovers, but they do have that sort of like these bad feelings about each other. I don't know, it's hard to describe. The way that they're talking to each other I really love, because it's kind of like the mean flirt but not in a bad way. I just really like it. I like Kai. Yeah, I am already very invested into this, so I'm happy to continue. There's nothing that I dislike. I have heard that there isn't a ton of world building in this book though. Hopefully I can get a good chunk of this done tonight. I have a ton of stuff to do today though, which I kind of forgot about, so I'm gonna go do all of that. I will be back. I'll see you guys probably after the halfway point, or unless something super crazy happens, but I will just see you when I see you. Okay, I'm on page 218 now. The trials have started. Very interesting. Total eclipse is about to happen right now. Or full eclipse? What's it called? I don't even know. Literally in like 2 minutes. And it's so weird. It's getting so dark outside. I've never experienced this before. And I hate that I don't have glasses because I can't look at it, but I want to so bad. It's so tempting. Anyway, I'm just gonna talk about this while it's literally happening. I want so much more background on the trials because I don't know if I missed it in the beginning, but I don't necessarily know why they're even happening right now, and I want to know what the outcome of the trials is and what it means for the kingdom. But something pretty exciting, just not exciting, but something important happened. I don't want to say exciting because it wasn't a good thing, but we're dealing with another group of people. Hold on, I might need a minute to experience this. This is insane. It's getting dark so fast. Holy crap. The street light literally came on. That's funny. Anyway, still enjoying this. I'm liking it a lot. I feel like right now I have the same thoughts as I did before. Okay, now it's getting really late. This is insane. The trials have begun. It started in a very interesting way, so I'm liking that a lot. And I hate that I've seen so many things about it being compared to the Hunger Games, because now that's all I'm gonna think about. It's not exactly the same. It really isn't. Obviously you can see the comparisons, but it has its own unique things. There's other elements that have been in other fantasy books that are also in this one. It doesn't make it bad, and I think that all the bad reviews that I've seen about this book are because it has been compared to other fantasies and also the world building. So I'm gonna try to ignore the fact that things have been taken from other fantasy novels and try to just focus on this for what it is and block all of that out, which I don't necessarily know if that's fair. I'm still up in the air about my feelings on that whole situation, but as of right now, I really am enjoying the story for what it is. I think Kai and Peyton have a very strong connection already. They haven't really admitted to having any feelings toward each other. We're not at that point at all yet. It's more of just like a bickering situation with somebody that you find attractive, and so I'm really liking that. But now that the trials have started, I don't think we're gonna get too much on them two for at least a little while. My only thing right now is that I'm not entirely sure how the trials are working. Like, I don't know how long they're gonna last for. I don't know how many different parts there are gonna be, and I wish there had been more of an explanation of that before they had started, because I do think they started pretty quickly. I don't want to say anything too soon though in case we do get an explanation. That's all I'm kind of really hoping for for right now, story-wise and background-wise. I'm just gonna keep going. I'm almost halfway through. I didn't have too much to update on. I just wanted to experience this eclipse with you guys, I guess. I don't know what it is about Kai, but I literally want to cry. He is so caring, especially towards girls. There's a moment, there was a ball, and it was like, oh, this beautiful girl just walked down in this dress, whatever, and then it was like, my mother. I don't know why I want to cry so bad with this dude. He's literally meant to kill people, but he's being so sweet to the people that he cares about, and I just can't. I can't. Yes, it is the next day. Yes, I'm wearing the same shirt. Don't judge me. I am almost done. I'm on page 364. I only have a little bit left. I'm most definitely going to finish this tonight. I'm hoping I finish it tonight. But I just want to give one last update before I get to the end and have my final thoughts. We're currently on the second part of the trials, and it's actually really interesting. It's different from the first one, and I really like the difference between the second trial and the first trial. I think it was a nice little change. It's allowing the characters to bring out different sides to themselves a little bit. I obviously can't say what exactly is going on right now, but I really like how it's kind of making the characters rethink everything that they were pretty much making themselves think in the beginning. The moments that we're getting between Peyton and Kai are my favorite. I literally love those moments so much. And all the other side characters, there's moments between them and the main characters that I'm just soaking up. I love the characters in this. I love how they interact with each other, and I can definitely tell that I've already grown a connection to them, and I know that I will grow a deeper connection to them as the series continues. Finished Powerless last night, well, last evening. I really enjoyed this book. I truly fell in love with these characters. I felt a lot of emotion with the scenes in this book, and it truly just made me feel, and that's exactly what I want from a book. So I am very thankful that I have read this book now. I love me a slow burn, and this was definitely a slow burn, and it's gonna even be more of a slow burn. So I am pumped for that, but also a little heartbroken. I liked the whole atmosphere of this book. I like the writing. I like that I could literally read every single word on a page and not get bored. I did not skim anything in this book. I read every word in this book because I wanted to. I was loving the place that I was in when I was reading this. I was able to just escape with this book and truly soak it in. I just wanted more with the fantasy aspect of this. These characters, they do have a little bit of a power. I was wanting a little bit more from that. I'm not gonna say that I didn't have that 5-star feeling when I read this. I did the majority of the time, but in the back of my head I knew that I wanted more in the world and the trials and everything. But with everything else, the romance especially, I definitely got that feeling. So I am gonna stick with a 4.5 stars for this book. I'm so excited for the second one. The ending of this one, oh my god, are you kidding? I literally, like, my heart was just growing this whole entire book, and then the ending just shattered it. And now we have to wait till July. Also, I have the UK version of this book, if you cannot tell. I pre-ordered the novella and the second book also in the UK version so they can all match, which means that I'm not going to be getting them when they're released. I'm going to get them like 2 weeks after because I have to ship here. So when July 2nd comes around and the second book comes out, I have to wait another 2 weeks to read it. I'm fine because I'm a patient person, but I just want it now. So yeah, I have great thoughts about this book. I truly recommend it to anybody. I just think that you should go into it not expecting a crazy like fantasy story, but it is such feel-good, emotional, pretty much character-driven story, and that is what I love about reading. That is what I love about books. So this one was really right up my alley. It wasn't a 5-star, but I'm 100% convinced that one of the other books is definitely going to be a 5-star. I don't know, Lauren Roberts, what are you gonna do? I'm nervous. I know that it was good because it gave me emotions, but also, you know when you're nervous around somebody or somebody new and you feel sick, like your nerves literally make you feel sick. Maybe it's just my anxiety and other people don't experience that who don't have anxiety, but everybody gets nervous, right? So I'm assuming people feel some sort of uneasiness in their tummy when they're in a situation like that. But parts of this book literally made me feel that way. Not in a bad way, but like when there was some scenes between Peyton and Kai, I just, gosh, it gave me like little butterflies. First of all, I love the book. 4.5 stars. Just to add to the fact, I know that a lot of people read romance books or even fantasy books and they fall in love with fictional men. I don't really have any fictional men that truly stick with me. I will say now that there are two, and it's just a little funny that they're both named Kai, so I'm just saying. And before I have read either of the two books that have a guy named Kai in them, I've always loved the name Kai for a guy. It's my favorite boy name for some reason. I don't know why. There wasn't like any character when I was younger that was named Kai that made me like that name, but I just love it so much. So now it's just a little funny that my two favorite fictional men are both named Kai. It is time to move on to Spin the Dawn by Elizabeth Lim. This one is a little under 400 pages. We shall see if this one is a 5-star. Elizabeth Lim, can you do it again for me? I feel like I just had another thought to say about Powerless, but it's already gone. What was I gonna say about you? Maybe I already said it. What did I just say about you that made me think of it? Oh, see, that worked. So this one did take me a while to get through. I started this Friday, finished it on Tuesday. I didn't read as much as I normally do. Over the weekend especially, I didn't really have time to read. The reason for that, I kind of had already said this when I said that I had read every single word in this, but I truly just wanted to soak in this story. I wasn't reading this and thinking like, oh, it's taking me a long time to read this book, I should probably get through it a little faster. I didn't even care because I just loved being in this world and in this story. That was my final thought with Powerless. It came back to my head. I am on part 2 of Spin the Dawn, page 163. I'm almost halfway through now. I will say I'm not liking this story as much as I like the other duology by her. I still really love this. Her writing is just very atmospheric. It's very whimsical. It's almost poetic in a sense. It's interesting because I follow her on Instagram and she posted about her newsletter, which I signed up for. The letter that she sent out, it was info on her other book, but then there was a section where she was saying that she was a composer and she portrays that a lot in her writing. You can tell that it's set up just that type of artistic way, and I think that's why I like her writing so much, because it's pretty unique but it just flows really well. Things fit in together very nicely. I do want to point out that the magic in this book and what I've noticed so far in her books is that it fits so well with the world and these characters and the stories that we're reading about. Sometimes in fantasies when I'm reading, magic will pop up and it kind of just doesn't make sense. Like, it doesn't fit into that world that I'm reading about. But her books, the magic fits so well. It comes up in a great way. If you want those like whimsical magical elements, I definitely recommend her books. But so far, this one is pretty good. Part 1 of this was all the trials trying to become the Imperial Tailor. Our main character is going through all of that. There were quite a bit of things that pop up. Another thing that I love about her books is that there's so much that happens and there's so many things that pop up that keep you interested. I really love the aspect of the girl posing as a guy going into this kingdom to do this competition when she's not supposed to be there because she is not supposed to be a woman who is a tailor. But she's obviously very talented at what she does, so she's hopefully going to prove everybody wrong and prove that a woman can do this stuff. Now that we are on part 2 and we're almost halfway through, I'm very surprised that the whole first part didn't take up more space of the book, because part 2 I honestly don't know what is about to happen now. I think it's going to get very good. The ending of the whole trials was very fun to read. It wasn't fun for our main character, but it was fun to read. There was some juicy stuff happening. Yeah, so far I am liking this book. I wouldn't say that I'm loving it. I don't know if it's going to be a 5-star. Honestly, I'm not getting those feelings yet. I haven't gotten that feeling yet so far in this book, but I'm pretty sure that it's also going to be high up there, which is just as good. I do want to try to just binge this today and finish it because I feel like I've been taking quite a while to film this video and read these books, and I still have a 700-page book left to read for the end of this. So I'm hopefully gonna just read as much as I can, hopefully get this done today, and we'll see how it goes. I've read a couple chapters since I last updated. I wanted to point out there's something that we have gone through this whole entire book, some magical element that this character is dealing with. One of the side characters that is getting more important as the book goes on. You go this whole time knowing that something is happening and you can make the connection as a reader very easily, but our main character was not making that connection, and I was like, girl, when are you gonna realize this? Like, it's so obvious. When I was in the middle of this last chapter that I was reading, I was like, okay, I'm gonna update the video and tell them that like this thing is happening, and then literally the last sentence of that chapter she made the connection. So There is obviously a ton of mystery behind that, and I'm really curious to see the background behind that, so I'm hoping we get more info on this character soon, because they're a very interesting character and I like them a lot. Right now they're on a super long journey. We're getting that whole span of just traveling and doing what they need to do. That's all I wanted to say. I'm just hoping that I get updated soon on who this person is and their background. I just finished the ending. It was a cliffhanger. Oh my god. This book got like so much better as it went on. It was so much more than just going to the palace and sewing. It was so adventurous, just like her other books. I just can't get over her writing and the way that she is able to write such unique adventure. Towards the end of this is set in the same world as Six Crimson Cranes. I think I had said that before already in this video. We're dealing with connections geographically. Throughout the story there wasn't anything really else in there that connected the two, but towards the end we did get another connection with this being that was in the other duology and is also in this one. So this one came first, so I would have been introduced to this being in this duology, but it was just interesting to see the connection between this certain thing. You don't have to read either or to understand. You can read them on their own. That also led to like the cliffhanger at the end of the book. I have no idea where this is gonna go. I didn't really grow an attachment to any of the characters in this one though, so that was unfortunate because I do love the character attachment when I read. I think I'm gonna give it a 4 stars. I never got the 5-star feeling, but it was very adventurous, very captivating. And now, last book we are reading for this video is going to be When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker, and that one is, I think, about 700 pages, so that's gonna be a trip. That is the one that I'm hoping I give a 5 stars. That's why I saved it for last. I'm hoping I do get a 5-star in this video because I was predicting all these books to be 5 stars. Obviously they're very close and I still really love them, but I just want that 5-star feeling with one of these. So hopefully it's When the Moon Hatched. We will get into that next. I just picked out my tabs to match this. I'm hoping to annotate this a lot. I am going into this as blind as I possibly can. I don't really want to know the whole plot of this just because I think it's going to be fun to find out along the way. As I read, I'll give very small details to help you get to know the plot a little bit. I'm going to go to a coffee shop later and probably not get too much of it done because I'm not someone who can read in places with a lot of other people. It's hard for me to focus on a book, so I'll probably only read a chapter, honestly, but I'm gonna go there. I'll take my book and we'll start trucking along. I'm going to start off by saying I'm so sorry that I finished this book and I did not update at all as I was reading it. I really have not been doing well up here, so I just couldn't bring myself to pull out the camera and film anything when I was reading this. I do apologize for that, but I have my thoughts on this book. I finished this morning actually. I have all my annotations in there. It's very beautiful. This was probably one of the most unique books that I've ever read, the most unique fantasy world that I have read. I really enjoyed this one. I don't remember if I had said that I was going into this blind. I didn't read the back of the book and I didn't really want to know what it was about when I started the book because I thought that would be better, but honestly, like, I read the back of the book after I finished it and it doesn't really give you nearly as much as what happens in this book, so I feel like you'd be completely fine reading the back, and it's not a book where I think you should go in blind. I mean, obviously either or, it doesn't matter, but I think that if you have a brief summary of what it's about, it's not going to affect anything. I am going to give a decent summary about this. This world is basically really different from Earth. Like, a lot of fantasy novels, you can kind of just still picture them taking place on Earth, but I feel like this is a completely different planet just by the way that it's laid out. So it's laid out into 3 different sections. So at the top you have the burn, which is daytime there all the time, rainy all the time, sunny all the time. That doesn't really make sense, but it's always bright there. It rains a lot though. And then you have the fade in the middle, which is basically most of our world right now where you have night and day. Then you have the shade on the bottom, which it's nighttime there all the time, snowy. And each region has different dragons that reside in that region. We have our main character Rabe, and she is a assassin technically. She is a part of this group that is trying to basically help. They're good people. There is a leader of the Fade who is not doing very well to the kingdom. He's punishing little kids and it's not good at all. Rabe and her group are trying to get rid of these people and to fix things, so she is pretty much hired to take out certain people that are evil. We start at the beginning of the book. It's very much a mystery throughout this whole entire story. There's a lot of things that pop up that leave you questioning a lot of things, and I love that in a book because it makes you want to keep reading. It makes you curious about where the story is going to go, what's going to happen. So we get introduced to this group that she is a part of at first, but then the whole entire book, it kind of takes a turn and we're dealing with her journey. She's away from this group because things have happened. She has to be somewhere else, and so we don't really go back to that, which I feel like could be frustrating for some people because you're introduced to that at first. So I think that's, you kind of are expecting to get more of that as the story goes on because that was your like first initial welcoming into the book. But honestly, I will say that no matter the twists and turns that this book took, took, it did really well. It seemed almost realistic because if you're following a main character, if you're following Rave and the journey that she's going on throughout this book, you can't really know what's happening in the other parts of the world. If you go in with that mindset, it makes sense because obviously if you go on with your life and you're in different places, you're not going to know what's happening in other places, and you kind of just have to hope for the best, I guess. There are just so many secrets in this book. There are things that I cannot say because they're spoilers, but there's things that you find out as you're reading this that are so interesting, and it's so good. I highly recommend, if you plan to read this book, read through all the terms of the glossary before you start reading because it'll help you get familiar with everything. It's there for a reason. That way when you do start this book, you can just be familiar with those terms already and know what they're talking about, because if you don't, you're going to be confused, and I feel like that could deter you from liking the story. There's also a character list. You can get to know the characters more, and you can just look back on this and know what's going on. Okay, I forgot to mention like the basic of this story. Sorry, my mind is everywhere right now. This is going to be a disaster, but I can't fix it right now, so you're just gonna have to, we're just gonna have to roll with this. So there are 5 creators, aka gods of this world. These people in this world are some sort of fae. They're not immortal, but they do live for a very long time. There are these people called Nulls, which basically means that you don't hear the song of one of these 5 creators. So there's like a fire god, a rain god, a wind god or air god, ground, and then there's the god of aether. You either have the Nulls or you have the people, they wear a certain bead correlating to which creator's song that they can hear in their mind. So they have like some sort of power coming from whatever creator's song they can hear. The dragons in here, when they die, they actually go up into the sky and they turn into like moons. So that was also a very unique concept that I really enjoyed. It's like a little dragon graveyard up in the sky, and some of them end up falling and leaving craters into this world, and then that is kind of like chaos happening, and there's just so much behind this world. I think it has a very great sense of world building. I feel like the only thing that I didn't really like about this was because it was kind of dragged out a little too far. We didn't really get any answers to anything until a little over halfway through this book, and it is a 700-page book, but it reads really fast, so I don't know exactly how many pages it would be if it was laid out in like a regular format. It's definitely not as long as it seems. Yeah, we didn't really get any answers until about halfway through, which was a little frustrating. I wish we'd gotten more of them sooner, just because more was popping up as time went on. And there's also romance in here. I was feeling it throughout the whole entire book. Like, I knew who the guy was going to be as soon as he popped up, but there was so much happening throughout the journey that you didn't really get a focus on the romance until later in the book. Once we got the focus on it, I swear like a switch just flipped in my brain and I was all for it. Like, I was all there for the romance, and it affected me so much, and I ended up really loving it. And I really just truly adored the writing in this book. It's filled with a lot of figures of speech, a lot of similes, metaphors, personification, which could not be everyone's cup of tea, but I truly enjoyed this. It made for a very beautiful read. I really love what this author was able to do with her writing. It helps you escape into this world. I really just think this book was beautifully written. I didn't get that 5-star feeling, and I don't know if it was because of like the mental state that I'm currently in. So I hate that I am feeling that way as I'm reading this book, because I'm questioning if I would have given it 5 stars if I was feeling fine. I do just feel that this is a 4.5 for me. That's what I've been thinking kind of throughout the whole book. It just makes sense. So I'm gonna stick with a 4.5 for this one, and I actually cannot wait for more books in this world. After reading this, there's just so much that I need to know. There's so much that the characters still need to find out that I cannot wait until they find out, and I'm so curious to see where it goes. I feel like it has a lot of potential to pretty much go anywhere, and I don't have any expectations from what I want in a second book, so I'm very open to whatever happens, and that's a good thing because I'm not going to be let down. That is When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker. I highly recommend it. And then just to recap, my first book was Powerless by Lauren Roberts. I'm getting the novella soon. Can't wait to read that. Also, I don't know how I'm going to feel about that because I'm going to be sad, I think. I will say that I still think about this book, and this book would have easily been a 5 stars. I just needed more world building in this one. If I had the world building that When the Moon Hatched has with the feelings that this book gave me, oh my god, it'd be a perfect book in my opinion. So I did have to give this one a 4.5, but I did still get those feelings from it, and I cannot wait for the rest of this series. And I'm still thinking about Kai. Next, I read Spin the Dawn by Elizabeth Lim. This one I did give a 4 stars. This one I honestly don't think about still, but it was very well done. I really liked the story of this, and I just enjoyed where this world took me. I still recommend this one. I recommend all of them, actually. If you have not read any of these, please go for it. Those are my 3. I feel like it took me forever to film this video. These 2 were a bit chunkier, and I did annotate them a lot. except for this one. I don't annotate this one, but you can tell that I like them because how much I annotated them. I still recommend Six Crimson Cranes more. If you have not read that yet, please do. I will forever recommend that book and that duology. That is my reading my 5-star predictions. We didn't get any 5 stars, but we were very, very close. And honestly, the way I rate my books, a 4-star is still like so high up there for me. So don't think that me rating a book of 4 stars is not good in a way. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next video, whatever that may be. And feel free to like, comment, subscribe. It helps me out a ton. I hope you guys have a great day, great night, and I will see you later. Bye.